All right, it's 9 a.m. We're going to call to order this meeting of the Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, August 19th. Let the record reflect that all members of the board are present. I'm going to turn to council to see if there's any additions or corrections to our closed session this morning.
Good morning. No changes today.
All right, so this morning we have items A through C. Is there a member of the public who wishes to make public comment on these items? If so, please use the raise hand function, *9 via landline. I see one hand up from Christian Schneider. Mr. Schneider, we'll give you the floor now. You have 2 minutes.
Great. Can you hear me?
Ken.
Awesome. Thank you. So I had submitted a county claim to you all. I had issues with you guys saying that or writing me a letter basically saying something's untrue, and it's been an ongoing pattern. And I'm trying to make a complaint about issues with your county council, and them demonstrably making false statements to mislead the public and I believe yourselves. Now, you guys aren't getting that county claim because that county claim is going to the people I'm complaining about and that are saying, oh, no, nothing to see here. No worries. I'm trying to show you that they're burying these complaints and have consistently had this pattern of obstruction for quite a while now. And I do a CPRA request, which is ignored for months. And then I'm told documents don't exist, and then suddenly they do exist. Now, none of this is new. You have heard me come to public meetings and say to you, this is a problem. So at what point do you guys say, hey, wait a second, maybe we should listen? Maybe we should read what this person has written down. We should see if his rights have been violated because we have an obligation to correct that. That's it. That's all. Just wanted to express my frustration with this and hoping that you guys would be better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Schneider. I don't see any other hands up, so at this point, we're going to close public comment on our closed session agenda. And with that, we're going to recess to closed session, reconvening here in chambers at 10:30 a.m. All right, good morning, everybody. It's 10:35. We're going to call to order this meeting of the Board of Supervisors, reconvening after a closed session. Let the record reflect that all members of this board are present. Supervisor Asti will join us shortly. With that, I'm going to turn to Diego Celis and see if he doesn't mind giving us the announcement of the interpreter via Zoom.
Muy buenos días. Mi nombre es Diego Celis, seré su intérprete en español-inglés para la reunión de hoy. Si usted está planeando hacer un comentario público y necesita servicio de intérprete, por favor de hablar lenta y suficientemente fuerte para que yo lo escuche. Y favor de hacer una pausa al final de sus oraciones para asegurarse de que tengo la oportunidad de interpretarle. Muchas gracias.
Gracias, Diego. With that, I'm going to see if Supervisor Church doesn't mind leading us in the pledge this morning.
Let's begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Supervisor. With that, we'll turn to the clerk to see if there's any additions or corrections to this morning's agenda.
There are none.
All right, seeing none, we're at ceremonial resolutions. We have single item on item 2. I'm going to turn first and see if there's any public comment on item 2. I see nobody in room. No hands up via Zoom. I've got a motion from Supervisor Alejo. Is there a second?
Second.
I'm going to take the second from Supervisor Askew. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? The measure carries. We'll go to Supervisor Alejo for a presentation.
Good morning, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, it is our honor here to honor in these chambers remarkable leaders and people who do great things within our county, but it's even more special when we honor our young people. We don't have an opportunity to do that all the time, but this morning it is the honor of the County of Monterey Board of Supervisors to honor one of our rising stars, somebody who's already broken many records, but somebody who on top of her athletic abilities and talents has also excelled in her academics as well. This morning, I'm going to call her and her father up in just a few minutes. This resolution is honoring former North Salinas High School track and field athlete Clara Adams for winning 2 junior national championships, breaking local records, and serving as an inspiration to young athletes. And today we will be declaring every August 19th as Clara Adams Day in Monterey County. But to start us off, for those of us that weren't able to be in Houston, even though we were there with her in spirit as she won her 2 national championships, we're going to show one of them this morning, and then also the news story by KSBW on her big victories just a few weeks ago. We'll start with the first one, and we'll get the volume.
Lane 2, Desiree Reel. Lane 3, Nairobi Smith. Lane 4, Clara Adams. She had the fastest qualifying time. Lane 5, Zaya Ganaway. Lane 6, Angel Breffo. She was 4th last year in the 15-16s. Lane 7, Kenneret Rickham. And in lane 8, Aganomi Akbobasa. She was 2nd in the long jump and 3rd in the triple jump.
You feel the tension.
Robinson, Reel, Smith, Adams, Ganaway, Breffo, Rinkham, and Akbobasa.
Let's give her a big round of applause, everyone.
Clara Adams, 23:71.
Amazing victory, amazing time.
Quick note, ladies
I think
and
a personal
gentlemen, Dylan
best
Mitchell
as well,
winning
right?
that last race in 21:04.
Falls
We're gonna go to the
U.S.
KBW
number
story
2
now.
freshman this year. It is 2104. Congratulations.
All right. Got some technical difficulties here.
Track star Clara Adams competing in her final junior nationals over the weekend. Her last because she'll be trying out for Team USA's under-20 team a year from now with the hopes to compete in the Open 400 and earn a spot on the 4x400 relay team. And she saved her best for last out in Houston for the AAU Junior Olympic Games. Adams, she must have stopped by NASA to pick up some rockets to strap on those spikes because she was flying. Look at this kick in the final 50 meters of the 400-meter final. She finished with a personal best time of 52.58 seconds. And Adams not done there. One national title not enough for her. In the 200-meter final, she shatters another personal best, crossing the finish line at 23.42 seconds. And with those times, she's now ranked number 1 in the USA Track and Field 1800 division.
Wow.
And that 400-meter time of 52.58 seconds, getting the attention of some heavy hitters. Clara's father and coach, David Adams, says they'll be speaking with Nike this week about the possibility of joining Team Nike. We'll be sure to have updates on that as we learn more.
All right, that is awesome, everybody. So it is my honor here to call up the one and only Clara Adams. Come on up. And her father, Coach D, David Adams, the dynamic duo of Monterey County. What an honor to have you both here. Family and friends, and for those that are watching at home, also on Facebook and our YouTube channel as well. Well, this resolution that we're about to present, that was just approved by all 5 Board of Supervisors, reads in part, Clara Adams was born and raised in Salinas and holds a stellar 3.88 grade point average. Let's give her a round of applause for those amazing grades. That's hard to do when you're training a lot and you're traveling a lot. To keep up such an amazing GPA is just outstanding. She has made the varsity North Salinas High track and field team for the last 2 years and has distinguished herself as one of the most exceptional young track and athletes in Monterey County's history. Clara Adams achieved national acclaim through her travel track club, Central Coast Cheetahs, at the 2025 AAU Junior Olympic Games in Houston, where she won the Junior National Championships 200-meter event in 23.71 seconds and the 400-meter with 52.58 seconds, placing her among the fastest high school sprinters in the nation and now being ranked number 1 in the nation and number 6 in the world. Give her a round of applause for that. That's wow. As a high school sophomore, because you're only 16, right? Yeah, all right. Clara Adams' time in the 200 and 400-meter events not only set the North Salinas High School record, but she also broke the Monterey County records in the 200-meter with 23.42 seconds and the 400-meter with 52.58 seconds. And she also broke the Central Coast section, the regional record, in the 400-meter with 53.23 seconds, where she became the 2025 Central Coast champion. And she also won the state championships in the 400-meter with 53.24. So let's give credit where it's due. She won that race. So beyond that, she was last year's Central Coast section champion, and I think 4th in the state, right? And she also has won 23-time All-American honors, and so far she has 7 national titles. So that is just amazing. So Clara Adams' discipline, perseverance, and passion for her sport have nurtured her through her unwavering support and expert guidance of her father and coach, David Adams, whose dedication to her growth has been instrumental in her athletic and personal success. They are the first father-daughter dynamic duo to ever win double national titles in our county's history. Her father, David Adams, is a Salinas native and originally grew up in Seaside and is a national sprint coach that has been coaching and mentoring youth in our communities for 2 decades. In 2019, he brought the AAU Travel Track Club Central Coast Cheetahs to Monterey County, the same track club that Clara has been running for the last 7 years. Clara Adams' remarkable achievements have brought pride and recognition to North Salinas High School, the city of Salinas, and the county of Monterey, inspiring young athletes to pursue their goals with determination and integrity. So last but not least, Clara, therefore be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors, on behalf of all our county residents, hereby honors and commends Clara Adams for winning 2 AAU Junior National Championships, breaking numerous local records, and serving as an inspiration to young athletes. The Monterey County Board of Supervisors hereby proclaims every August 19th as Clara Adams Day in Monterey County in recognition of her record-breaking performances, national titles, and being a true inspiration to our families and communities across Monterey County and beyond. We wish Clara and her father, David, much success on all their future endeavors and competitions. So I'm here to present this resolution. Congratulations, Clara. Congratulations. And last but not least, this was a surprise, but we also recognize that many of our young people can't do it without family, without parents, without the community who are behind you all the way. When you're competing, we want also to recognize the coach of your father. Let's give him this proclamation as well. Congratulations. Before I pass the mic, Clara, I wanted to let you know that this Board of Supervisors has your back. One of our meetings a few weeks ago, I let everybody know that we were going to write a letter supporting you to make sure your state title is reinstated. All my colleagues here said, put it on the agenda next week because all 5 of us want to sign that. And wherever you go, we want you to know that your local government on the Board of Supervisors supports you all the way, and that when you go compete everywhere, that they will announce that back in your home county that you have a day in your honor every single year. So congratulations. We'd love to hear from both of you.
Wow. I didn't know I was going to get a day after all that. That's crazy. I just really appreciate everybody who's had my back, especially after all the controversy that happened after state. And Clara Adams Day. It's crazy. Thank you to my community from Seaside all the way to Salinas. Thank you guys, all you guys, everybody, for supporting me and being behind me. And thank you, most of all, to Coach D, my dad. I call him Dad. So thank you. And, yeah, here.
Hold this real quick. I don't want to drop my word. Good morning, everybody. A very special day here for my daughter. It's one thing, to get your roses when you're still alive. These kind of honors happen usually when you pass away. So for her to only be 16 years old and she can live and enjoy this moment, and this is something of encouragement. When you're going through a hard time, like what happened at state, that's the time when people turn their backs on you. They don't want to be in the, they don't want to be in the crossfire. And at the moment when things happened, I felt that me and Clara was alone, not, including our families. But, like I said, everything's on social media, everything's online, And I woke up to something, and it was Luis, he was posting about her championship being stripped and the defense that he went to. And people that I thought was supposed to fight for us didn't fight. And the ones that didn't expect to fight, not county supervisors, that's like so political. I didn't think nothing of it. It's just high school sports, because that's how they downplayed it. It's just high school sports, but high school sports is a future. There's life after high school sports. This is not just about track. It's about life after track. Like I tell Claire, one day you're going to run your last race. Then what? So preparation. So again, I want to thank you, Luis, and the Board of Supervisors for this. Means a lot. It means a whole lot. And just thank you for the recognition. It's a big deal. We've had some powerhouse athletes come out of this county, out of Salinas. Alvin and Calvin, 96, 2000 Olympics. I know they got the keys to the city. We have a few other pro athletes as well that's done remarkable things here. But for Clara to have 2 more seasons left, like I said, it's going to be a movie. 2 more years left. And that's a big deal. She's doing stuff that seniors should be doing or beyond. She's only 16. I always want to make that clear. People think she's older. She's my baby. She's 16. That's it. She's 16 years old. So, yeah, just happy for the things that are happening that are new for us, to support family, friends that are here. It's 10 in the morning. You have to be in bed. You guys can be at work, but you choose to be here. And that's just something that's very major and appreciated from our families. Claire's mother, grandmother. Everybody that's here, it's a big deal. Tesla Sports Academy is here. That's a big deal. It means a lot. Torres family, that's a huge deal. Thank everybody.
All right. Well, we're not done yet. This is a surprise. We didn't tell your dad about it, but we also invited the congressional office of Congressmember Zoe Lofgren to present something, and also State Senator John Laird's office and the Assembly Speaker, the President of the Assembly. They sent their staff here to present you with recognitions. Congressmember Lofgren is in D.C., but we're going to have our chairman of the board, Chris Lopez, present this award on behalf of Congressmember Zoe Lofgren, who represents most of Monterey County. I'll pass the mic.
Thank you. Let me slide around you here because it's sitting right behind you. So on behalf of Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, you're getting a certificate of congressional recognition. Now, I just want to echo the words your dad said. We rarely get roses in life, right? But the fact that you've still got so much runway, know that from here to D.C., people are taking definite notes, knowing where you're headed, and we're behind you 1,000%. As Jake said in the video, you put on your rocket boosters. We want to be that fuel. Know that in those moments when things might seem a little harder, we've got your back. Let that fortify you and carry you through. As someone who played college sports, there comes a day when you hang up your cleats, when you hang up your bat, and know that forever you will have your day here. Even when those are hanging on the wall with all the medals, hopefully gold medals, we know more are coming. But we're extremely proud of you. On behalf of Congresswoman Zoe Lofgren, I want to present you this recognition and thank you for all that you've done to inspire us and everyone else in Monterey County. Congratulations.
So next we're going to call up Dominic Dursa from Assembly Speaker Robert Rivas' his office. This is his district director here. Thank you for coming, Dominic.
Congratulations, Coach. There is more. So yeah, no, I have the privilege of being here on behalf of the speaker today, and I'm glad Coach mentioned the legacy that you're helping live on in Salinas. Not just the Harrison twins back in the 90s, but here in Salinas, we've had a legacy of baseball, football, track, boxing, and now you're part of that legacy. And I know it's a hard responsibility because the race you run, you got seconds, but it takes hours, it takes days, weeks, months of training that goes into just that one race. And we know there's a pressure that comes with it, but your community has your back, you know? And so know always, this day is always gonna be about you, whatever you do moving forward. So much that you've accomplished, you have earned, and we'll always be there for you moving forward. So on behalf of the Speaker of the Assembly, Robert Rivas, congratulations on your day, and we look forward to continued success. Thank you. Photo right there.
We'll take a picture right now. Go ahead. And next, we're going to hear from Marissa Hernandez, field representative for State Senator John Laird.
Thank you, Supervisor.
Hi.
Good morning. It really is a pleasure to be here on behalf of Senator Laird. Unfortunately, as the speaker, the senator is in Sacramento in legislative session, but we wanted to congratulate you and recognize you for your many achievements. I know, you're just, growing up and doing tremendous record breakings, but you're also making sacrifices. And I know you have a lovely family to support you. So thank you to your family, and continue to do the amazing hard work and making our community proud. Sometimes, as mentioned, we have these talented athletes in our different sports, and for you to represent us and in your different competitions, I can only imagine how hot it must have been in Houston, and for you to give that extra mile and not thinking about the weather or other extremities. You kept going for your goals. So thank you for making our community proud, and it's my pleasure to provide you with this recognition on behalf of Senator Laird.
Thank you.
All right, now we're going to ask all our board of supervisors and our CEO to come down and join us in a big group picture so we can put it on our social media. Yeah. And they can move more centered if they want here as well, the family. Oh, and we got these beautiful flowers for you as well. Got to do it right here. I got some flowers. Clara, after today, you are among only a few. We've only done this a few times. Ruben Villa, our... We're going to have to squeeze it a little bit out. Can we squeeze it a little bit? Okay. You guys get... We'll all squeeze here. Okay. Well, I was going to say, though, Clara today is among only a few who have a day in their honor. Ruben Villa, who fought for a world boxing title, was among them. Joe Cap, before he passed away, the first Salinas resident to take the Minnesota Vikings to a Super Bowl. And most recently, Los Tigres del Norte, one of the popular Mexican music groups who started their career in the Salinas Valley. You're among those very few who this county has given this distinction to, and it is well earned. And we couldn't take a better photo with your father, your mother, your family, and the Board of Supervisors. So let's take a photo here for the record. Well deserved. We're very proud of you. Keep going for the stars.
Thank you all for joining us. We appreciate that. So I'm going to proceed with our agenda at this time. We're going to look at our appointments, which are items 3 through 9. Again, items 3 through 9 on today's agenda. So I'm going to see if there's any member of the board who wishes to pull an appointment for comment, question, or alternative action. Seeing none, we'll go to the public, see if there's any public input on our appointments. Hearing and seeing none, I'll bring it back. Is there a motion to approve our appointments?
Second.
Got a motion from Askew, second from Church. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. With that, we're looking at our consent calendar, 17 through 30 on today's agenda. Is there a member of this board who wishes to pull an item from consent? Supervisor Church.
29.
29. Any others? All right, we'll go out to the public, see if there's any items besides 29 that the public would like to see pulled for additional comments or questions. Seeing none, is it just comments or alternative action, Supervisor Church? Possible?
Both.
All right, so at this point, what I'll do is ask for a motion to approve.
I'm sorry, I just was looking back. I wanted to make sure we didn't miss anything on comment. Pardon me. So give me just a second here.
All right. Mr. Gray, we're going to go ahead and give you the ability to unmute yourself. If you would just let us know which item you wish to comment on. We're already pulling 29 for comments and questions. Is there another item?
Good morning. My question is on item 29 in reference to the CSA. Is that going to be discussed?
It will be. Thank you. We'll get back to you in a second here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Good.
I'm good.
All right, so I'm going to look for a motion for all of consent less item 29. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Got a motion? I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposition? Motion carries. With that, we're going to go to item 29. We'll start with Supervisor Church, then go to the public.
I'd like to pass, just go to the public first.
Sure. We'll go to the public first. I saw that hand up from Mr. Gray. Mr. Gray, we'll give you the floor and allow you to make comments on item 29. You'll have 2 minutes, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd just like to voice my opposition to the CSA for 45 because, one, it doesn't have the consent of all the homeowners out here in Oak Hills, and it was only passed by one person there on the CSA committee without the conform of the homeowners. And in my professional opinion as an engineer, it's a waste of $65,000 for a stupid engineering study to tell us stuff that we already know. And so that money could be well used for maintenance versus paying a consultant to do that. And as far as storm drainage goes, as far as I know, there's only one over on Cathedral Oak, and that should be included in the 1% fee that, or taxes, I should say, that we're all paying now for road maintenance because it falls under the road. And so I think it shouldn't be putting a burden on us to repair that culvert when we're already paying taxes now for road maintenance. So I object to that. And the street lighting is owned by PG&E, which we pay a service fee for them to maintain and keep operational. So how that got included in there, I don't know, but that's my understanding is PG&E, with the exception of the ones that are on Cathedral Drive, which is owned by PG&E, correction. They're maintained by the Caltrans. So I just want to voice my opposition to this. I'll be voting against it anyway when it comes up for our vote. And most of the homeowners I've talked to are in the same position. And additionally, the land along 156 should be maintained by Caltrans and not the homeowners out here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gray. Is there any other member of the public who wishes to speak at this time on item 29? We'll ask you to raise your hand. Go ahead and come forward in the room. If you're in the room, come forward and come to the lectern there. We'll give you 2 minutes. If you're joining us via Zoom and wish to speak, I'm going to ask you to use the raise hand function, *9 if you're on a landline, in order to be recognized. We'll come back to you after we finish with folks in the room. Please.
My name is Alex Rausch. I am a member of the CSA 45 Advisory Committee, and also I'm the president of Oak Hills Neighborhood Association, which represents roughly 50% of our Oak Hills area. Our community is in a kind of a crucial time period. The taxation that was initiated right around the turn of the century has not changed since that time. It still remains at about $80.92 a month, a year. And the problem has been, like with all of us, increasing costs. Even the PG&E cost for energy for the streetlights has gone up over double in 10 years. The meetings we had, the biggest question, the first question usually was, how high are the taxes going to be? And there's only one way to answer that, and that's to go through the 218 process, get the engineering report, which will assess the cost of the present services and the need for more services, as much as, and also public input will determine what the residents and the property owners would like to add. At the end of all that, the engineers come up with a price that will reach that level. And then that will go out to a vote. So all property owners will have a vote after it's all said and done. So this, what we're doing and the process does not determine yay or nay on any taxation increase. So while it's not popular right now, I think after the meetings are held by the engineers, that will become clear.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name's Alan Fisher. I'm a 37-year Oak Hills resident. And I decided this isn't the type of thing I like to do, but I decided to come and voice my opposition. I think the initial comments that were made about this subject were on point. To me, spending the large amount for an engineer's report is, I agree, a waste of money. It could be, if that money is available, it could be spent for, better use in the neighborhood. Pretty much it. I oppose that. I think opening the door to this tax increase or potential tax increase, to me, it's like a blank check for the future. And I think with the number of homes in Oak Hills and the taxes we currently pay, it should be sufficient for the needs there. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Next.
Yeah, hi, I'm Jim Mahone. I also live in Oak Hills. I'm a registered professional engineer. I want to be brief. I just like to motion that we postpone the resolution to proceed with the engineer's report until after we can meet with all the residents and have time to understand and discuss the alternatives. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. Next.
Hello, my name is Jeannie Hayashi.
Would you please use the microphone?
I'm sorry, I think I'm too short. Hello, my name is Jeannie Hayashi, and I have lived in Oak Hills for over 33 years. I have attended the CSA 45 meetings for over 2 years, and I am not a member. But it came to my attention because my home backs up to one of the green belts. And so I wanted to understand why it wasn't being taken care of and how the county came into play and how did the homeowners association come into play. I also ran and I'm a member on the homeowners association. And there is a distinct lack of communication between the CSA 45 advisory board and the residents. East Oak Hills has a total of about 311 homes. The other side has about 250 homes. Then we have a piece that is sandwiched right in between us, which is about 24 to 28 homes. Those people have never even been informed of any of this until recently. And so you have a lack of understanding, education, distrust with all the residents as to how high are our taxes going to go up. I think people understand that something needs to be done, but I think that we need to delay this process, provide more education, more communication between all the parties and any residents that want to understand exactly what is happening. So I urge this group to, at this point, delay the process and create something where we can actually have more meetings and more education and understanding of what is going to happen, because there is a huge potential to waste taxpayer funds that we currently have. I do understand what Alex is saying, that you need to have the engineer report, but I think that we really need to understand what the desire and needs of our community is before just moving forward and potentially wasting that money. That is all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
My name is Lynn Riddle. I am a member of the CSA 45 board. This is the dilemma. We have green belts that need to be taken care of. Unfortunately, we do not have the ability through our funding from the state and also the county to cover the cost of doing that. We have a shortfall. So the dilemma is, if we don't do 218, what do we do? We have a voluntary homeowners association, which means that out of 300 and something, like 170 actually pay their dues. They didn't pay their dues when it was $40, and we increased it to over 100, trying to make up the loss so that we could pay our bills. So I think probably one of the things is maybe to postpone, and this did come quickly. I think we need more interfacing with the people out in Oak Hills that actually will be paying for the upkeep, and also just to make sure that we're communicating with the public that you, as well as our board and CSA 45, are doing the best that we possibly can and being as frugal as we can to cover what we need to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next.
I wasn't going to speak, but since I'm here, I am Louise Iredale, and I'm the chair of the advisory committee. And everybody has said they're hoping you will delay this, and obviously Supervisor Church has done that. He's pulled it, and we're going to go into more detailed discussions and decide what to do. The main thing is I was asked to give to Supervisor Church and his chief of staff my communications with the county. And when I received the email on Friday at 4:35, just to me, I didn't read it till like 8 o'clock at night. So saying that there was going to be this meeting on the agenda today on the 19th. I had frantically all weekend emailing all our different groups to alert them about today. But the main thing is with this is that I had emailed the county June 25th and July 3rd we had a members meeting on July 6th. Nobody answered me back from the county. Nobody let me know that they were working on this report, which would have been helpful to be aware that it was happening, because they said maybe it won't happen till August or September. So obviously there's a real misconnect and respect, I feel, for the advisory committee and for our community. And this is something that's why there's mistrust, as Jeannie just said. And I really feel I appreciate Supervisor Church pulling this and giving us more time to figure out a way to do it properly. And the main thing I want to emphasize is that we have asked for a different way of doing this, a Prop 218, where they have a process of the engineer's report and these meetings, you wait after you get the engineer's report. And that still won't fly. People are so upset about this amount of money that if we can go a different way with meetings in the group, then I think that will work. Thank you. Sorry. Okay.
No worries. Thank you for your time. All right. I don't see anybody else in the room. There's no more hands up via Zoom. I'm going to bring it back and go to Supervisor Church. Sure.
Thank you. I thank everybody from the Oak Hills area who've come forth to speak on this. I think, it's what this is all about, to opportunity for you to express your views, whether you agree or disagree with something. I know Public Works has reached out in the past with some meetings, a lot of information, but as one of the speakers pointed out, there's hundreds of homes here, and it's really been a small group that has seen this. From the communications that I've had in the last few days, from emails and calls, it appears there's still a lot of uncertainty and not clarity on exactly what all the options are, what is being done here, and I think there needs to be a little more outreach into the community in terms of not just those who have been most active, but into the whole community itself. And I feel like I'm going to support whatever the majority wants, but there needs to be some greater involvement going on into here. So I'd like to have this delayed for a few weeks, and we try to go back. I think part of the problem that has happened here is just did pop up on the agenda on Friday to the public, and that was rather short notice, and I think we're seeing a reaction out of this here. So, that's my request at this point, is we just we delay this here for a few weeks while I kind of work with the community, work with Public Works, and finding a way to really get a little more clarity, a little more education, and particularly on a larger scope, as much of a larger scope as we can, with the hundreds of people, hundreds of residences. I think it's thousands of people that live there actually within this community. Thank you.
So looking at it, Supervisor Church, it looks like the next, given the Labor Day holiday, if you're trying to go more than 2 weeks, would put you at the 16th. Are you okay continuing this to the 16th?
I think I'd like to leave it kind of an uncertain date at this point. I mean, Mr. Ishii, are we on a timeline or anything on this? Do we have a little time so we can address this on a little more leisurely and thorough path?
Good morning, Chair, members of the board. Randy Ishii, Director of Public Works, Facilities and Parks. And with me on the line are Enrique Saavedra, the Chief of Public Works, in charge of the entire Public Works Division, and Tom Moss, our Senior Water Resource Hydrologist, who is in charge of Stormwater, Special Districts, and Sanitations. They can speak to it in a little bit further detail because it is going to take time to set up another community meeting. And the impact of having a delay on the vote today may be something workable for us, but we do want to take a moment to reiterate what's in the report, that there's 2 different zones of benefit. There's 617 parcels that pay for many of the services. There's another 346 that pay for just the open space district, and that the costs of these services can only be known by doing the engineer's report, which, going through the Prop 218 process, as you've already stated, Supervisor Church, involves public processes, community meetings that continue as part of that Prop 218 process. So while we are going to try to work very hard to see that this delay, if the board chooses to do the delay, will have as minimal impact as possible, we have to recognize that should a delay cause an impact on the rate increase process, that there would likely be a reduction of services due to the inability to keep up with the escalating costs of which already exist. And I look to my staff, if that's agreeable to the board, for any additional comment on that.
Mr. Saavedra and Moss.
If we're on the line. Good morning, Chair Lopez and members of the board. This is Tom Moss with Public Works. And yeah, the only thing that I would add to Director Ishii's comments is that this process should take 8 months. So any delays, our hope was that we would get the Prop 218 election through and that the new rates would be effective in the following fiscal year. And so any delays of a month or 2 would just push that off into the following fiscal year. So other than that, there's really no concern about delaying this. I mean, I think everybody in the community is aware that the current revenue is insufficient to provide the services. We're already on about a 3-year cycle to maintain the open space. So at this point, we don't have plans to maintain the open space next fiscal year because of lack of funds. So our hope was that we'd be able to push this through a little more quickly. But yeah, that's the biggest concern, is that the delay would push it out an extra year.
So I understand the need to try to get it into the next fiscal year, but I also understand the need that we just do this right on whatever decision is going to be made. And I would rather go through and have a little delay and have questions answered beforehand than to have questions raised after the fact about people not knowing what's going forth here. In terms of a community meeting and how to do it, I think we need to find some unique ways to reach out into the community. So I would ask Public Works to reach out to my office to see what we can arrange on that. And I do think it's important that we address fire prevention issues next year too, so maybe we can address that as well. And I think there's ways that we can go around this and address some of the urgent needs that the community needs while still being able to go through and have everybody well informed. And I just am really concerned that on a larger scope that we're really probably only have a few % of the people in this community who are truly understanding the issue, and it really needs to go a little broader than that.
Supervisor Daniels.
I just wanted to ask a couple questions. So I understand the success of a Prop 218 vote is completely contingent upon folks understanding what they're voting on. So time is needed and understood. Is there anything other than the open space? I'm concerned about fuel mitigation and making sure that those needs are addressed. Is there anything in CSA 45, if this were delayed, that would also go unaddressed that you think is needed for public safety?
Thank you very much for the question, Supervisor Daniels. Staff will defer to our Senior Water Resource Hydrologist, Tom Moss, and Chief of Public Works, Enrique Saavedra, for further info on that.
Yes, thanks, Randy. Supervisor Daniels, the other services that we provide are street lighting, and there are sufficient funds to cover the street lighting, basically in perpetuity, and then storm drain maintenance. So the fund balance that provides that service for storm drain maintenance is very low, and if we have, any significant work or even minor work really to the storm drain system would, I don't think that we would have the fund balance to do the work. So, that's been a concern of mine. I've expressed it to the advisory committee members in just ways, and yeah. So I mean, right now we don't have any capital projects that are identified, and frankly, we haven't been able to clean and inspect the storm drains due to the lack of funding. So that other service is, also a concern, and I just want to point that out.
So I wonder, just to follow up, if this were to be agendized on a future meeting and Supervisor Church and the community felt like they weren't ready, we could always take it off the agenda as we near that date. I wonder if there's any desire to just try to get it in time in terms of a future meeting, and then we can always pull it off the agenda if we're not ready.
I would rather leave it a little bit open, but we're going to make this a real priority to get it resolved here in as short order as possible. Okay. But I have some ideas. I want to run by staff exactly how we can go about doing it. I do want to thank Public Works and that they have put forth a lot of information on this. But again, I think we really got to go out to larger community and got to find an effective way to do that.
Would you like to make a motion at this point, Supervisor?
I'll make a motion for this. I don't want to put a date on it, so I'm going to make a motion that this be delayed to an undetermined date here, but for consideration by the board.
Is there a second?
And I'll second that with a comment, if I may. And I just want to thank members of the public here and in Zoom for paying attention, for being able to respond on such short notice. I know our agenda is the cycle at which we are here every Tuesday trying to read up on 100 or so items from an agenda that's posted on Thursday to a meeting that happens on Tuesday. The timing is challenging, I think, for everyone to try to stay on top and to be present to provide feedback. But thank you. We want to work with you. We want your 218 process to be inclusive and successful in all of the ways that work for your community. So I think you're hearing us say that we hear you and want this to be successful. And also, I want to, support my colleague Church in saying, there is an urgent. What I'm hearing from staff is that there is somewhat of an urgency to move this forward. I'm hearing that there isn't sufficient reserves for some of these critical infrastructure issues that could come up. And so making sure that there is a plan in place to move this forward in a way that does include community voice. The county's financial position is not such currently or presumably over the next few years where we would be in a position, I think, to backfill. So as a community, making sure that you're that you're best positioned to make sure that your storm drains are funded sufficiently, and that your open spaces are funded sufficiently, and that your services are funded sufficiently to meet the needs of the community. So just putting in the comment that there is a timeliness to keeping this on track, and anything that we can do to support your office or Supervisor Church or staff to make sure this does get back on the agenda. I think we're all supportive of that, but happy to support the second on this motion.
Right, I have a motion and a second. Director Ishii, any final thoughts before we call the vote?
Staff will follow our orders. Thank you very much.
All right, then I'll just express the same. Happy to support Supervisor Church in this ask to make sure that the community is as informed as possible and on board in advance to the extent that we can get there. We know we'll never get 100% agreement in any community on any issue, but being able to have the conversations ahead of time means a lot. I also have the concerns about fire risk, right? That mitigation piece, it's something we all live with. So making sure that we can address that as soon as possible, I think will keep us on task. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and ask all those in favor to signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? The motion carries. Thank you, Director Ishii. All right, with that, we're going to recess the Board of Supervisors and call to order the Board of Supervisors of the Monterey County Water Resource Agency. At this time, let the record reflect that all members are present, with Supervisor Alejo joining us shortly. I'm going to see if we have any additions or corrections to this agenda.
There are none.
Seeing none, we have one item on consent. Is there any member of the public who wishes to speak to the item on consent for the Monterey County Water Resource Agency? Board of Supervisors. Seeing nobody coming forward, no hands up via Zoom, I'll bring it back. Is there a motion to approve consent?
So move.
Got a motion. Is there a second? I've got a second from Askew. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. With that, we're calling for general public comment on the Water Resource Agency agenda. See nobody coming forward, no hands up via Zoom. We'll go ahead and adjourn the Board of Supervisors of the Monterey County Water Resource Agency and reconvene the Board of Supervisors. Let the record reflect that all members are present, with Supervisor Alejo joining us shortly. We have a scheduled matter this morning beginning with item 12, the Pedrazzi. We're going to go ahead and send that out to staff for a presentation. And if anybody's wondering, that's how you say it, Pedrazzi. It's a well-known South County name. I didn't. Before we go to that, let me open up general public comment. I did miss that. So I'm going to come back and welcome any member of the public who wishes to make comments regarding items not on today's agenda, but within the purview of this body, to come to the dais now to make comments. See no hands going up, nobody in room. We'll close general public comment and proceed with the Pedrazzi.
Good morning, Chair Lopez and members of the board. My name is Jacqueline Nickerson, presenting on behalf of Kayla Nelson for PLN 210158, which is the Pedrazzi Agricultural Subdivision Project involving land under Williamson Act contract. This project was scheduled before the board on June 24th, but was continued by the applicant at the hearing. The applicant wanted to address concerns regarding the inclusionary housing condition of approval number 8. Staff worked with the applicant to modify the timing of the condition, which the applicant now supports. The project site is located at 800 and 808 River Road in Salinas, which is guided by the Toro Area Plan and the Agricultural and Winery Corridor Plan. The 3 parcels involved to be subdivided are split zoned permanent grazing with a 40-acre minimum and farmland with a 40-acre minimum with a design control and visual sensitive overlays. This zoning allows for agricultural uses, development incidental to agricultural uses, and subdivision of land with a minimum of lot size of 40 acres. The project is a subdivision tentative map to allow the division of 3 existing parcels, 2 of which are under an existing Williamson Act contract, into 5 parcels with a remainder parcel. All land to be subdivided will remain under an amended Williamson Act contract, which restricts future development. The land proposed to be subdivided was court-ordered on March 29th, 2013. The order resulted from a judicial partition action filed by one of the property owners. The purpose of the partition is to separate ownership of the land. However, the court order does not contemplate nor authorize any change in existing use or intensification of existing use. Should any of the property owners desire to change or intensify the uses in the future, they would need to independently apply for the appropriate entitlements to allow development incidental to agricultural use of the property. The existing configuration is on the left of your screen, and the proposed is on the right. During staff's review of the project, the proposed 11-acre parcel A was found to conflict with the existing underlying zoning for agricultural use because the parcel is under the 40-acre minimum requirement. Pursuant to the Ag Wine Corridor Plan Development Standards, Policy 3.5 allows for an exception for the subdivision of land to a minimum of 5 acres, subject to meeting strict requirements. Staff reviewed these requirements and found that the project would reduce the number of conforming agricultural lots from being further subdivided, limit development in a manner to retain the rural character of the corridor, and future development of the lot must be in conformance with allowable uses only identified in the Ag Wine Corridor Plan. Staff's analysis of the applicable Government Code section, Subdivision Map Act, and the policies within the agricultural wine corridor led to the requirement for parcels A through F to be deed restricted from further development for the next 10 years. Staff reviewed the project in relation to these policies and found proposed parcel A to be consistent with the overall intent of the development of the agricultural and winery related uses. By applying this mitigated conditions of approval to the project addressing the development requirements, staff finds that it meets this exception. Staff thoroughly reviewed the application and found the proposed agricultural subdivision to meet the county regulations for a standard subdivision tentative map, as well as the state's Williamson Act findings. No new structural development will result from this project that's before you. The county did prepare an initial study, which was circulated for public review on April 14th through May 14th of this year. The county identified potentially significant impacts to agricultural and forest resources. The draft MND recommended 2 mitigations that would reduce the identified impacts to a less than significant level. Mitigation 1 would reduce impacts to agricultural resources by requiring the applicant to record a deed restriction as a condition of approval, stating that future development of parcel A shall conform to agricultural and wine corridor plan policies. Further, mitigation number 2 would also require the applicant to record a deed restriction stating the future development on parcels B through F shall be restricted for the next 10 years after recordation of the Pedrazzi subdivision final map pursuant to the Williamson Act subdivision requirements. The proposed project was referred to the Agricultural Advisory Committee in August 24th of 2023, as well as the Toro Land Use Advisory Committee on October 23rd of the same year. Both committees unanimously recommended approval of the proposed project. Staff would like to add a non-standard condition of approval, which would be number 17, which would require a note on the final map stating that the future development on parcels A through F are subject to an approved mitigation monitoring and reporting program. Staff would like to also add that for this particular project, a record of survey would not be required for the remainder parcel at this time. And should the applicant develop this parcel in the future, a record of survey would be required then. The applicant has agreed to staff's recommendation to add this condition as part of the project's approval. Therefore, staff recommends that the Board of Supervisors adopt the mitigated negative declaration, approve the subdivision, the standard subdivision tentative map, adopt the condition compliance and mitigation reporting program, and authorize the chair of the board to execute a new or amended agricultural preserved land conservation contract, and direct the clerk of the board to record the new and amended contract subject to submittal of corresponding fees by the property owners of record. And that concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, Ms. Nickerson. Comments from the dais. Supervisor Daniels.
Thank you. Just one question. What happens after 10 years on the deed restriction in terms of home site development?
The applicant would be allowed to submit a application for development at that time, and staff would review it to ensure that it is consistent with the applicable land use policies and regulations.
And just to be clear, that was one of the Williamson Act parcels or not one of the Williamson Act parcels?
In terms of the existing contract?
With the deed, yes. In terms of the existing or future?
Yes. So there are 2 parcels that are under Williamson Act contract. The development, the deed restriction would be on those existing parcels.
Thank you.
Yes.
Other questions from the dais? Seeing none, we'll go out to the public, see if there's any public input on this item. See Mr. Kling coming forward. Again, remind folks via Zoom to use a raise hand function, *9 to be recognized. Mr. Kling, the floor is yours.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Michael Kling. I represent the applicant, and this hopefully is the culmination of a process I had forgotten that we had a court order 12 years ago in this partition case, which was 2 different ranches, and the present ownership is the 5th generation of the Pedrazzi family. The 6th generation is alive, but not yet on title. And so this is just a process to divide this is the home ranch. We had already divided the Corey Ranch, which is just northerly, and no proposed changed uses. They'll continue to use this for agricultural purposes. It's just a matter of divvying up the assets among the family members. We completely support the staff recommendation as modified, and I was grateful to hear Ms. Nickerson indicate that Michael Getz, the county surveyor, has agreed that there's no need to survey the remainder parcel. It will be shown on the final map, but that's pretty hilly country and expensive survey work, so we appreciate that being a matter of record. Happy to answer any questions if there are any. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kling. I'm not seeing any other hands up via Zoom. Nobody else coming forward in the room. I'll bring it back to the dais and see if there's additional comments, questions, or a motion.
I'm happy to move to approve, and I don't have exactly the right language in front of me.
Staff recommendation?
Staff recommendation will probably work.
Perfect. I've got a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. With that, we have concluded item 12. We'll jump into item 13, which is an update from Kelsey Scanlon on our 300 Moss cleanup. Wow, nick of time.
Winded. I really should go back to the gym. I'm so sorry. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. I apologize in advance for the very brief update. We were limited on the amount of time that we had available to us. There will be a very extensive update at the next month's presentation on September 16th. So I do want to be mindful. It's not that there's nothing to report. It's just that a limited amount of time. Sorry. So since our last update on July 17th, 2025, the US EPA and Vistra entered into the CERCLA agreement, which is an enforceable agreement. And this is CERCLA docket number 9-2025-08. Since the finalization of the agreement, the on-site work has begun, and they've started doing structural stabilization of the remaining walls and partial demolition work. This involves clearing access to the building, targeted demolition, and additional structural supports and other protective measures in key areas to facilitate the safe retrieval of the batteries. The preparatory work has already started, so the community can likely expect to see and may have already observed construction, personnel, vehicles, and equipment, including cranes, arriving on site. Dust control and perimeter and community air monitoring measures are in place during all of these activities, and so that will also be taking place. After the stabilization and partial demolition activities are completed, the US EPA expects battery removal will begin in September. Additionally, the US EPA has launched a new webpage and have been working on developing a community involvement plan rooted in the feedback that they have. Oh my God, thank you. From the interviews that they conducted with a couple dozen participants. The new website can be found on the readymontereycounty.org website. The new debris removal link directs back to the US EPA. And as I said, a more thorough update regarding debris removal activities will be provided on September 16th, 2025. Since then, the Environmental Health Department and the Health Assessment Unit have conducted soil sampling throughout Moss Landing and parts of North County, May 8th through June 20th. The preliminary lab results were received on July 28th. Delivery was later than anticipated, likely due to the inclusion of the complex analyses of PAHs, dioxins, and furans. Terraphase will submit a technical report within 30 days. The report will then undergo verification and peer review by the county coordinated experts to ensure accuracy and completeness, with review completed within 10 business days. Verified results and the technical report will be posted online in mid-September. At that time, the county's GIS data reviewer will also be updated to display the sampling locations and results. For phase 2 of the community sampling plan, a revised work plan for phase 2 community sampling was received on August 11th. The plan now includes direct pore water sampling at a subset of locations to provide specific or site-specific data on sediment pore water partitioning for potential fire-related analytes. EHB formally accepted the revised work plan with minor modifications to surface water and sampling locations. Sampling is expected to begin in late August or early September, and a technical report will follow within 30 days of laboratory completion reviewed by experts before publication. So generally the expected timeline regarding the community sampling plan is mid-September 2025, a soil sampling report from Terraphase, November 2025 sediment and surface water report, December 2025 preliminary environmental analysis report with human health and ecological risk screenings. And all of these reports will be reviewed by the county and state experts, including OEHA toxicologists, for accuracy and completeness. And so with that, I will conclude my very brief presentation and turn it back to you. And thank you for the water.
Thank you, Ms. Scanlon. I'll bring it to the dais, see if there's any comments or questions at this point. All right. On this side, Supervisor Askew.
I do actually, thank you. Maybe not so much directly for Kelsey, but just sort of in the broader general sense of our county attempts to be responsive and help our residents obtain answers to questions that they have, even in the acknowledging the reality that so many of the questions that exist are not answers that we directly have information to answer, or answers that may not be available or exist. We did receive another letter from a group of residents that was in response to a previous letter in response that we tried to pull together some information. And this was dated August 18th. It was in our packet here today. But just sort of, again, asking for some additional information about how to make sure that they're appropriately cleaning their properties, responding to their own health concerns. And so I guess my question is, if those are if the questions that are being asked of the county are answers that we are not able to provide, can we say that? Is there a point where we can just answer that question and say we aren't able to answer some of these questions, or we don't know the answer? So to be clear, rather than trying to say, this is what we, to provide some insufficient answers. And I think that's maybe where we're at this point with some of those questions.
And we are actively working on a response to that letter, as well as following up with some of the rhetoric that was provided in the first letter to the resident group, which is very much along the same lines of what you're saying now, which is to the extent that we have knowledge and authority or jurisdictional responsibility to provide a response to some of the questions we have to our ability. And beyond that is really a matter for council to provide guidance on how best to either provide a certain response or acknowledgement of uncertainty.
Okay, and also I just want to acknowledge, like, the questions that are being asked are really fair questions, and they're questions that I think are fair. They're fair questions, and I think that anyone who lives in the communities around Moss Landing should be asking, and I would be asking, and I am asking along with the residents, and so I acknowledge the frustration, and also acknowledge that, you know, sometimes my son asks me a question and I don't have the answer. And I think the respectful thing in that case is for me to tell him that I don't know, or that I can't answer that question and here's why. And so I think that we just owe our residents that level of respect to be able to provide that level of truth, and acknowledge the frustration that we share with them, and to be really clear about here's what we're doing to try to collect, to get those answers and who we think we can get them from, or that we truly don't know. So I just want to acknowledge this letter because I think it is indicative of the shared frustration that exists in the community, that continues to exist in the community, and that I continue to feel as we try to get information from those who may have it, or that it just simply may not exist at this point. And
I appreciate your advocacy, and we'll certainly consider that at the forefront of our response. Yep.
All right, let's go out to the public, see if there's public input. I'll start with folks in the room. I see Mr. Mitchell coming forward. We'll give him a second to reach the microphone and acknowledge anybody online who wishes to speak. We'll ask them to use the raise hand function or *9 via landline in order to be recognized. Mr. Mitchell.
Wait, can't see. Go. I'm Ed Mitchell, one of the co-founders of Never Again Moss Landing. We support this board as we represent members of our large organization. It has been 7 months since Vistra's ion battery storage facility burned down at Moss Landing storage site. In that period, the public has not received any list of pollutants spread across the fire footprint and their concentrations. You may recall in February, our organization urged this board to request Vistra conduct sampling along the 700-foot-long pile of black polluted residue that we call Ground Zero. 5 weeks ago, we spoke with the federal EPA section chief for community involvement. Since the federal EPA is responsible for assessing and reporting the pollutants inside the fence at the incident site, we asked the section chief to get us the sample results of the Ground Zero SCAR. We didn't get that. Instead, the EPA released its joint agreement with Vistra to clean up the site. Unfortunately, the findings of fact section of the agreement was silent about any pollution facts anywhere inside the fence. So last Friday, we sent a letter to the EPA's primary on-site coordinator requesting a list of hazardous materials by the 22nd. Inside the fence, and sample results along the Ground Zero pile of pollution. In parallel, we sent the letter to numerous elected officials, to this board, to local environmental groups, and others. We asked those individuals to contact the on-site coordinator and ask for the list of concentrated hazardous materials that the EPA by law is supposed to find or search for and report inside the fence. We're happy to say that one assembly member has done that outreach. Today, there is something you can authorize to do to, well, I'm going to take an aside for a moment. Just a moment ago, with your representative, there was no facts about what's being moved. What do you know about what's affecting the union members that are out there working? You don't. By law, they're supposed to report.
Thank you, Mr. Mitchell. I'm going to go online. I've got Michelle Clay with her hand up. Michelle, we'll go ahead and give you the ability to unmute yourself and start this clock for you at 2 minutes.
Good morning, everyone. My last name is Clary. It's always Clay when you say it, but
My
Clary.
apologies. I'm looking at a computer that's like probably about 10 feet away, so my vision's not that great. I got close. My apologies. I'll reset your clock here.
Okay, thanks you guys for these updates. Again, I just want to reiterate that the EPA does not work best for our concerns here locally. Again, I stated to Supervisor Church, I'm in the Royal Oaks area, and they did find hexavalent chromate in my well. The EPA are, when they do their yearly testing, which has never been in our water source before. So again, is the EPA only testing around the site? Who's going to take care of my well and make sure it's clean? Because obviously Vistra isn't, even if I go after him and we have to do a new well, but we are getting affected. And when the county, of course, we're hearing what's going on with the cleanup, but in these report backs, it'd be great to know what you guys are doing to really make sure that you're protecting us moving forward, because again, this was a series of fires. And again, when I saw that last presentation where they said, oh, we're just going to have a group on site to manage any fires if they happen after, they can't do anything about it. We don't want any fires. We don't want any of that smoke going up. I don't want my water and my animals being killed by these pollutants that are being put up. We don't want this here. You guys have to do something to safeguard us. We are relying on you guys. We're not getting much from our Senate, people. We're not getting any support by Newsom. We've already got to push back on electric from the president. Again, there's got to be cleaner ways. This isn't green. Please show us what you're doing to help protect us from this moving forward. And again, yeah, they're doing cleanup. They're moving debris around. They're going to start. Where's that going in the air? We're tired of smelling it. We are scared every time we see a fire around the Moss Landing plant. We get no information. We have to find out from our community that, no, it's just a burn or it's something around the thing. But we're all on edge here. So thank you, guys.
Thank you, Ms. Clary. And again, my apologies. All right, I see no other hands up. Nobody else coming forward in the room. I'll bring it back to the dais and go to Supervisor Church.
Sure. I just want to address a few items onto here. And this is no place in the United States, I don't think the world has probably really experienced a fire like this. So we're really setting the pattern and creating a template here on how to deal with this. And it's goes ahead a lot of times with 2 steps forward, 1 step back, sometimes 1 step forward, two steps back. I know this is going to be an issue for a considerable amount of time. It's going to take a lot of development, but it is essential that we do address safety, health needs, and concerns of people within the community. Addressing a couple of issues here about the EPA on the site. I actually am meeting with the EPA about monthly, and also including one of their updates in my newsletter. So they have been really good at reaching out to the community, but I can see that even they are realizing that this is something kind of new and the way they're going forward. I did request about an analysis of the material that's inside the fence line, as Mr. Mitchell referred to, and they said they would look into it. I don't know if they're going to report out onto it. It's really what's going on right now inside there is fully in the hands of the EPA and to some degree Vistra, but EPA is the one that's really calling the shots. We have really a limited amount of leverage onto that. I think they're even still at this point deciding exactly where some of this burned material is going to be taken. I know some of the recycled batteries appear to that, and I say recycled batteries because there's some batteries that were not burned, and there appears to be a site for those that have been determined in Nevada. But for the material that's going to be cleaned up, there's still uncertain exactly where that's going to go from what the EPA had mentioned to me yesterday. We're not really looking at massive amount of trucks going out of this when the stuff is moved. I just want to assure people of that. I know the EPA is also considering that as we go into winter, that there might be areas that might need to be tinted to prevent another fire developing as the material is being cleaned. Regarding Michelle Clary's I hope I got your name right. Sorry. Anyway, Michelle, you did express some concerns about hexavalent chromium. I don't know if that's anything to be related to the fire, but I do know hexavalent chromium is naturally occurring in North County. The water system I'm in has had that since it was first tested back in 2014, 2015. So it is a large issue out there and is a significant concern. I'm planning to bring forth a referral at some point in the next month or 2 months. I'm in meeting with seven different departments and agencies. I've met with, I think, about 3 so far on exactly what we can do here at the county level. It's important to realize that these are utilities. They're governed by the state, and particularly as battery facilities, they're even more governed by the state with AB 205. Anybody who wants to bring in batteries and put them inside this county can just completely bypass us here at this level and go straight to the California Energy Commission. And once they have a completed application, they can get a decision in 270 days with minimal local input. I'm quite aware of that, and quite aware that we really don't have a control over a lot of what we would like to have into the area, and we're not going to be able to. We don't have the power, even if the will was there to shut down the batteries facilities. But I am trying to find ways in which we can exert as much local control, as much ways to address health and safety issues, and as many ways as the public can have input into anything that should happen in the future, because that's just the way it should be. I'm very much a believer in local government and local people having a say so. So I'm working on something onto this that will be coming back at some point. Can't say it'll be perfect, but it's going to be a step. And as I've pointed out, this is really new. We're going to be setting a template. There's a couple other counties in the state that are moving ahead onto this as well, and trying to address local needs and concerns. Don't think I have anything more to add at this point. Just wanted to share those few thoughts. Thank you.
Supervisor Daniels.
Thank you, Chair. I just was curious from the county's perspective, have we requested an analysis of the material that from the EPA that Supervisor Church has asked for? Have we requested this as a county? And are we having difficulty getting information about the pollutants and their concentrations, like was brought up during public comment, and in particular regarding the materials that are being moved?
Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Sorry. My understanding is that the US EPA has conducted soil sampling within the ash footprint and around the ash footprint, though I will defer to them for clarification at their presentation next month. And my understanding is that the purpose was for baseline sampling should a additional environmental hazard or hazardous materials incident present itself during the removal and staging of the batteries outside of the ash footprint, but within the fence line. So specifically, they were testing the area for which they poured a concrete pad and will be staging them prior to treatment and transport. To the extent that they have tested some of the material within the ash footprint, I have no further update for you at this time, but can provide one before the next presentation or at the next presentation.
And what presentation are you referring to next month that the EPA will be giving?
Sorry. During our monthly update, which is currently planned for September 16th, we anticipate having US EPA in person to provide a presentation on the order and agreement that has been executed between Vistra and US EPA. And my intention is to assist them in preparing a presentation to address many of the questions that have been asked here today by both yourselves and the residents.
That's great. Thank you so much.
To be clear, that's a presentation to this board.
Correct.
Publicly.
In open session, yes.
Any other comments or questions from the dais? All right. With that having been received, thank you so much for joining us, Director.
I apologize for my tardiness once again and appreciate the patience. Thank you.
We got you. Thank you. With that, we've concluded item.
I just wanted to just give a heads up to Supervisor Church on any legislation, because I think this is one of those areas of law where the state has kind of taken jurisdiction, right? And whatever local law would have, I think the state law, what is it called? Supersedes, but there's a word for it.
They expressly made it a matter of statewide concern.
Statewide concern, right? And just if you track the governor's action, most recently approving a project in Fresno, they expedited it, right? So you just look at those trends, but this is one of those areas that, unless it's done by legislation, you're going to have a conflict between local and state law, and state law rules supreme over local ordinances or actions.
I appreciate that. I've had discussions with council about this and about the law and potential loopholes that exist into there as well. But that is the point I really tried to make in the AB 205 is, and as well as being a utility at the state is really preempts most things at the local level. But there are LA, Orange County, Solano, there's other counties, San Diego, that are actually doing things at the local level as well.
All right. I think all right. Reopen it. Let's keep going. Supervisor Ask.
Just one more comment. And I appreciate that this is a matter of statewide importance, and I absolutely appreciate that. And I'll just, one more comment. I had the opportunity to co-author editorial opinion piece with C3CE Chair Fred Keeley this summer that was published in the Sentinel, just commenting on the fact that this is significant for the state, but if this is significant for the state and for renewable energy, the state has to step up and lead in terms of safety. And the residents of the state have to be able to trust the safety of this technology. And the CPUC has to step up in terms of acting on and continuing to update the safety rules and assert their authority over those safety regulations for both existing and current battery energy storage projects. So just want to be clear that our voice here in this dais and as individuals continues to be loud and clear on those points. So thank you.
All right. Anybody else? We're still open. Final call. All right. Now you can go, Director Scanlon. Thank you so much. With that, we're going to jump into other board matters, beginning with a referral from myself. Do you want to read that in, Sonia, or do you want me to talk about it?
I can. I'll read it into the record. And this is a referral submitted by Supervisor Lopez. This is for the Anza National Historic Trail auto tour signs. The purpose would be to partner with the National Park Service to facilitate and the replacement of 14 official National Historic Trail auto tour signs on roads along the Anza National Historic Trail. The signage project includes 11 signs in District 3, 1 sign in District 5, 2 signs in District 2, and the National Park Service will purchase and ship 14 replacement signs for the County of Monterey to install in locations identified by the National Park Service. This has been assigned to Director Ishii's team.
All right. So to be clear, just the reason I put this one for, I had a great meeting with the folks who run the De Anza National Trail Program, and they were able to show me spots in Monterey County where there used to be signs of the De Anza Trail, and they've disappeared. They're offering to send us the signs if we're willing to put them up. So this is kind of a partnership offer just to get those reestablished. A lot of those are in the Lockwood area. I imagine they're adorning people's garages at this point. But yeah, and I'll just share, last week I had at Coastal Commission, it was kind of after having put this in, it was interesting to step out of my car in the parking lot of the hotel we were staying in and to see a sign saying there's the De Anza Trail. It was a brand new sign that they put up marking the passage through that particular part of Calabasas. So really interesting. But anyway, that's all I've got. It's just trying to create that partnership with the De Anza Trail folks and get those signs reestablished to let folks know where that path is. Any desire to speak, Mr. Ishii? All right. And we'll call it there and conclude that item and proceed forward to the CAO's comments.
Yes, today we recognize the library's accomplishments, specifically for their summer programs, which just came to an end. They were the lunch at the library, and the program provides state provide state funding to libraries to act as meal sites when school is out of session. They partner with local school districts to prepare the meals. Libraries serve the food and offer enrichment activities, both on-site and by visiting other locations where children can get free and healthy meals when their school cafeteria is not available to them. This is all at no charge to children and families this summer. These are the stats. The library served 14,796 meals and distributed over 24,000 pounds of produce through partnerships with the food banks, provided 845 programs and enrichment activities with a total attendance of 24,000 people, and provided 2,800 books to build home libraries. This is in addition to a full summer reading club and all the regular busy services of your Monterey County free libraries provide every day. So just acknowledging the work by our libraries, and also when we need them, they do serve as temporary evacuation sites that will partner with our Department of Emergency Management. So truly grateful for libraries from as far as Parkfield all the way up to Pajaro and into the many areas of our communities. Thank you.
Thank you, CAO. With that, we're at board comments. Nobody's making eye contact. We'll go to Supervisor Daniels. Go left to right this time.
I can go first. I can go first.
Mike. So I will say, while I'm looking for my comments, that I just got back from Southern California on Saturday and had several opportunities to engage with both TAMC and the opportunity to go to the California Coastal Commission hearing. And I'll just start with that hearing because, I just really want to take the opportunity to recognize Craig and Melanie, because after years and years of work on this, they did a masterful job over a long hearing to answer questions, and they did so in a way that showed their deep understanding of our local coastal program and the thoughtful way in which they have been engaged in this process since the very beginning. So huge shout out to our team in housing and community development, both Melanie Beretti and Craig Spencer, and it was a privilege to be there and watch them in action. I also then got to go to San Bernardino County and visit a hydrogen train and visit a facility that was the Aero Zimu maintenance facility in San Bernardino County. The next day I was able to go to the Coast Rail Coordinating Committee meeting, and that was at LA Metro. So it was a couple days where I got to be with TAMC and with the rail policy team, and that was very interesting, and it demonstrated the huge potential we have in terms of rail policy and progress in California. So that's something I really do want to prioritize while I'm in office, and try to move the needle and get the trains on the tracks to deliver the people where they need to go, and in ways other than in their cars. So the other big elephant in the room, Car Week. Yay, Car Week. It was officially the worst car week we have ever had in District 5. And I will tell you, it was, on the one hand, awesome. Got to go to Concours on Sunday. I love that event. There were several wonderful events that we permit and plan in the various jurisdictions. But we are the sideshows. If we don't do something as a county and pay attention to them, we'll quickly get out of control. And we saw that shift this year, especially with the influencers. And I'll tell you, though, we have a huge opportunity to levy a whole lot of fines, because every single one of those violations are on TikTok. And so I hope Housing and Community Development really does take the opportunity, because where we never did know before how many violations occurred, you see the food being served, you see the alcohol being served, you see the short-term rental that's unpermitted in action. And so, but it really, I heard from a lot of residents who noticed the difference this year in just being able to continue to get to work
to school, to doctor's appointments, and also just being kept up all night long by racing outside their homes. And so that's something we do need to focus on. Love the events. I mean, this is a very special thing that Monterey County is known for, and this new element will quickly get out of control if we don't collectively really focus our attention on it. And I think I'll just leave it. I have lots of updates because I've been all over the place. I think I put 200 miles on my car yesterday, just going throughout the district. But I'll leave it there. Lots of activity.
Supervisor Church.
So on this Saturday, the Marine Mammal Center is celebrating its, I just lost there we go. Now, close my phone. There we get to find my place back here. Anyway, the Marine Mammal Center is this on Saturday between 12 and 2 celebrating its 50 years of conservation, and at 11125 Commercial Parkway in Castroville. They have rescued over 26,000 marine mammals since 1975, treating them and sick and injured animals and releasing them back into the wild with more than 1,400 volunteers. There is also make sure I'm clear on this. Artichoke Festival is having a closeout sale of merchandise, souvenirs, and haunted house decor Saturday and Sunday, also at Commercial Parkway, but 11420 Commercial Parkway in Castroville on Sunday 9 to 4. In addition, the Prunedale Lions are having a barbecue and rummage sales this Saturday 9 to 2 at the Prunedale American Legion parking lot. And I think that's about all I really have, just on some local updates, and my information was a little sparse on some of that, but I hope people understood it. Thank you.
All right. Close out and Halloween, love it. We'll go with Supervisor Alejo.
Yeah, thank you. I want to say I thought it was a beautiful car week. We have a lot of great events, a lot of really amazing cars, auctions, money raised for charity. But I think you're right. I agree with the concerns that the influencers are playing a different role. I know, like the In-N-Out and Seaside, you had a storm of people. Luckily, the Seaside Police Department was on it. And there was on social media, you could see some of these very expensive cars also totally destroyed because of the recklessness of the drivers and the antics they were trying to carry out. So I agree. We have to, as we see trends change, our law enforcement and our ability to regulate what are many beautiful events and people following the rules. There's just those that disregard them and really behave as scofflaws. But also during Car Week, we had some great events here in Salinas. The beautiful Oaxacan Guelaguetza was a tremendous success. We opened a brand new park, Ensign Park, named with an Ohlone Native American name. But that was a project that took many years by the Big Sur Land Trust. When I was on ex officio member of the California Coastal Conservancy, we funded the first $2.5 million, but that park took millions more just to get it to this point. And it's really now to see all the kids there was a really beautiful thing last weekend. This week, I'm going to the CSAC Executive Directors meeting on Thursday. But on that same day, I was invited by the LA Times to serve on a virtual panel called Immigration Raids and California Farms. On this will be the president and CEO of the James Irvine Foundation, Luz Gallegos of Todec Legal Center. There's a representative from the one of the agricultural farms in California, and then a writer from the LA Times as well. So that will be, I believe, at 12 noon this Thursday. This weekend, got my mobile office hours from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. here at the Old Town Farmers Market, and on Saturday, and at the same time, we'll have the PAL Car Show. So I'll have my Mustang out there with all the other classic cars. So this is Car Week in Salinas, but it's a lot more tame than the other side of the county. And then next Tuesday here, I just wanted to announce that we're kicking off our celebration for the 175th anniversary of California Admission Day. That is when California was admitted as the 31st state of the Union. So on Monday, we're putting up an exhibit in partnership with the Colton Hall Museum and the Monterey County Historical Society. And then they're doing a presentation here in our meeting, and we're presenting a resolution. And then Chris will talk about, he has something special he has been working on as well. So I just wanted to give the heads up to our board that is kicking off next week, because we do not have meetings the first 2 weeks in September. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Yeah, just I'll briefly mention the Ensign Community Park grand opening was just the most joy-filled day to see folks that have been working on that project for a decade and longer. Krista Hani was there, Judy Solsona, folks from it was like a blast from the past, but also a celebration of overcoming really big barriers, and to see, the kids running up and down the slide, families coming together, really an incredible celebration for the community of Salinas and the entire larger community. To have something like that here is just really, really incredible. So it was so much fun to see everyone, and I want to just again say thank you to the role that everyone has played in making that possible. And then I also wanted to give a huge shout out of appreciation to Rocio Quesada from the Capital Improvement Committee for responding very quickly to a request to get an interpreter lined up for the CIC meeting, which I think was last week. There was a last-minute community request for translation services, and she was able to turn that around and make Spanish translation available for that meeting. And we've heard now from community members who were able to participate because of her quick work to have a translation available. So I just wanted to say thank you. We really appreciate all of the staff members who do our committee work and make our committees and all of our county work accessible to members of the public. So thank you all.
All right. I'll share, it seemed like I was on the circuit with the sheriff this weekend. Friday night, we were at Bryce and Hesperia together, where we were able to help with the potluck dinner and the public officials night. And then Saturday, I ran into her at the IROC portion of the Rolex, where I got to wave the green flag and kick off. That was cool, because for me, growing up, Jeff Gordon, Kurt Busch were two of those heroes of mine as a young kid watching racing. To wave that green flag over them as lead positions 1 and 2 in that race was a unique experience that I'll never forget. So I want to thank our partners there at Friends of Laguna Seca, who are bringing that track back to what we all hope it can be in the future. We know they'll be here in the next month to make a presentation, so look forward to that, but thank them for the opportunity to join them at the track this weekend. And then last night, I was still with the sheriff in Spreckles. It was the liveliest listening session I think we've ever had. A lot of back and forth and engagement. I want to thank the sheriff for joining us with a robust team. CHP had Lieutenant Gonzalez there, and we also had team members from Public Works, Facilities, and Parks to address road concerns, as well as Mayor Donahue directly addressing Amazon concerns. So it was a very long night together in that room, but it was a lot of fun in the end, because that direct engagement means so much to us. And so I want to thank my team for making sure that all that came together so well last night. I do want to share that this Thursday, I'll be at the Overdose Symposium, which is a countywide event, but it'll be hosted in Soledad this year from, I think it starts at 6 p.m., but I'll be there from 7 to 8. So if anybody wants to come out and join us to hear directly from impacted families and learn about the resources available to the community, that will be an opportunity. And lastly, I'll share that I was at Coastal Commission the last 3 days last week, and Supervisor Daniels forgot to mention that she deserves some praise, and I know we don't do that, but I want to thank you for being there and answering the questions directly as a former planning commissioner to speak truth to those points. It was a very robust meeting all the way around, including this item. A lot of engagement directly with the commissioners, and so just want to appreciate Melanie and Craig for coming down, taking on the hard questions, and getting this piece over the finish line. As I stated then, I couldn't support it based on the reasons that I've always had, but overall, just glad that we're through with that piece and moving forward now. The end product is something that obviously is going to be widespread, because we're talking about all the way up and down the coast, so we look forward to seeing what that implementation looks like. And so just wanted to acknowledge that. With that, I'm going to turn to the booklet next week. What's that? Yeah, next week. And I missed a town hall. We've got a town hall tonight in Chular, so welcome anybody who comes out to join us along with the Auditor Controller's Office. It's going to be focused on the issues that we've continued to address with the SFID Measure K overlap issue with folks having either payments or reimbursements coming their way. And so invite the public out to join us. If you weren't aware of that and are listening now, this is that opportunity to get some direct FaceTime with the Auditor Controller and her team about how it may or may not impact you. With that, I'm going to turn to County Council to read us out of closed session and also announce what our next step is today.
Chair, can I just do one thing first, is to correct something I said in my notes. I just added up my miles for yesterday, not 200, but well over 100 miles.
Well done.
So I don't want to be
It probably felt like 200 given the
I
traffic.
don't want to misstate the facts. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Chair. For closed session, we are going into item 1D on the agenda. And from that item, the Board of Supervisors will adjourn. And I'll state now for the record that there are no reportable items on the agenda for this week.
All right. With that, we're going to recess to closed session. Again, we'll be adjourning out of closed session without anything else to report. Thank you all for joining us today.